Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Broken to Beautiful. I'm your host, Chloe Fischer, and I hope you all are having such a wonderful day whenever you're listening to this episode. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but if you're watching the video version of this episode, I would highly recommend going and watching it right now if you aren't, because I have a Christmas tree in the background. And it's not decorated yet. I know. We're a little late in that, but we have a Christmas tree, and I'm so excited because today is the first day of the Christmas series for this podcast. And so, like I mentioned in my last week's episode, by the way, if you haven't listened to that episode, go listen to it right now, because it's just really good. But last week I mentioned how I'm going to, for the month of December, post 5 episodes just around the holidays on holiday topics. And and so it's going to be really fun. And I'm going to have my husband on one of them, I think. Maybe more. I haven't decided. But we have that. So I'm excited. So today's the first day. And I don't know what to call this Christmas series or what to title it. So if you guys have any suggestions, please let me know. But I will probably figure that out, obviously, when I post it. I'll have a name. So, yeah. But I hope everyone's day is going well. My day's going good. I am a little under the weather, if you can't tell, which you probably can't, honestly, because my voice doesn't even sound that bad. But I just have a little bit of a cold, and I don't know why, but it's okay because I'm alive and breathing. Thank you, Jesus. And he's given me some strength to film this episode, which I'm grateful that I have the strength to film this episode. But yeah, and so if I space off or if I'm just kind of slow in talking today, that is why. And I don't think this episode is going to be very long either today, which, sorry if you guys were expecting a long episode. But this one I think is going to be pretty short. So sorry about that, but we'll see, because I tend to say that and then I tend to have long episodes for like an hour and a half. So we'll see what this one's going to bring. But I thought for today we would talk about how to stay healthy during the holidays. And I honestly didn't know what I was going to talk about today, but I know I've mentioned in my episodes before. The reason why I started this podcast was, well, one, because God put it on my heart to do that, and I just felt strongly led to, and I wanted to talk about staying healthy and how to live a healthier lifestyle that in a way that's going to honor and glorify the Lord. And so that was a main reason why I wanted to what I wanted to talk about on this podcast. And so I thought it would be a great way to talk about how to stay healthy during the holidays, because the holidays are very stressful, and sometimes we can just throw our goals out of the way. Sometimes we don't always get the best sleep, and sometimes we want to just eat all the goodies, eat all the treats, and just not really focus on any of our goals with that, which is totally fine. Like, it's okay to eat the treats. It's okay if you don't work out. Like, that's totally fine. And I just want to talk about my experience with that and just things I've learned, and just give you guys tips if any of you guys are stressed around the holidays with food, or just trying to figure out how you can maintain your goals during the holidays, or how you can just relax and just enjoy being in the present moment. 'Cause, like, that's the great thing about holidays, is that we slow down, we're able to spend more time with family, and just live in the present moment. And so I thought that we would talk about that today. So I also just love health and fitness, and I just wanted to also just start sharing more about that for you guys too, if any of you guys are interested in health and fitness too. And don't worry, guys, I will definitely have the Christmas tree decorated by next week's episode. For sure, by next week's episode. Hopefully, this will be ready. If not, it'll be ready to go by the other episode. But anyway, we have the tree though. So, but we are a little late in decorating this year. But that's okay, because it's our first year being married, and things happen. But we don't really have a lot to decorate since we were literally in an apartment, and it's not that big. So that's kind of a nice thing. But I did have some things decorated already. So go check that out on my Instagram, which I'll have linked down below. And so, yeah. So let's get right into it. Okay. So honestly, I don't know how I'm starting this episode. I really don't. As you guys can tell, I don't really have any notes with me because I just wanted to share and talk about like my own experiences and things that I can give you guys that can maybe help you. And so I hope you guys learned something from this episode, and I hope that this encourages you guys and helps you on how to just live healthier and how to not get so stressed out around food or working out in a way that's going to honor and glorify the Lord. And so I guess I could start out by talking about how you don't have to be so, I'll say you don't have to get so stressed out over what to eat or over how much you should work out, because one, stress is not good for our health, but two, it's just not worth getting stressed out over that stuff when in the grand scheme of things, it's not really going to matter. I don't know if that made any sense. What I mean by that is so as I got older and as I got more into health and fitness, I would get so focused and hyper fixated on what I was eating, how much I was working out, and around the holidays, I would work out, and this was when I wasn't saved either, so I definitely wasn't working out or fueling my body in a way that was honoring and glorifying the Lord. I was doing it for my own desires, my own selfish desires in that way. But and so I would work out over the holidays. Like over on Christmas, I would work out on Christmas Eve and Christmas morning. I would wake up early before any of my family woke up. I would get in a quick workout, and then I would feel great. And I did that so that way I could eat the desserts and not feel bad about me eating the desserts because I worked out before. But the thing with that is, like, we don't move our bodies so that way we could eat a certain food or feel better about ourselves, that if we do eat a dessert at the end of the day, we're like, oh, it's okay, I worked out. Like, food is fuel. All food is fuel, no matter what. Yeah, sure, there are some more nutritious foods out there than others, but at the end of the day, food is fuel. And I'm not saying to go out and completely binge eat all the desserts this year at Christmas or Christmas Eve, but if you want to have a dessert, go have the dessert. Go eat the cookie, go eat the piece of cake and the ice cream, or the pie and the ice cream. Like, don't restrict yourself, because that's just not fun. Because then because I used to restrict myself so much of what foods I could eat and what foods I couldn't eat, that it didn't make the holidays very fun, because I was so hyper fixated on what I was going to eat that I did eat the desserts, sure, but I either binge ate the desserts and then ended up not really feeling the best afterwards, or I completely restricted myself and said, actually, no, I don't need the dessert. I had like one dessert this week. I don't need it on this day. And so I would just say no and restrict myself, and I would watch other people eat the dessert, have fun, have the bowl of ice cream, and I would sit there telling myself, oh, I don't need it, or oh, that's actually not the best for you and that's going to ruin my goals, so I shouldn't have it. Eating a dessert is not necessarily going to ruin your goals. Eating a one cookie is not going to ruin your goals. Eating the slice of pizza is not going to ruin your goals. If you have pizza over the holidays and just in general, it will not ruin your goals. I used to believe that lie. It will not ruin your goals. If anything, it's going to take off a lot of stress off of you, knowing that, okay, all food should never be a restriction to you unless you have sensitivities to certain foods. But if you don't, like, that's okay. And like, you should never restrict yourself because all food is fuel. And like I said, it's going to take the stress off of you, and it's going to help you relax more and be focused on hanging out with family and being in the present moment with family and friends, rather than looking over at the food and being so fixated on that you end up missing out on conversations and missing out on what Christmas is all about, which is Jesus. And you just miss out on all the fun things revolving around the holiday because you're so fixated on the food. And I used to be that way. And I want to tell you guys, you do not have to restrict yourselves. If you truly, I will say, if you don't want the dessert, you don't have to force yourself to have the dessert. If you want the dessert, though, if you want the cookie, if you want the ice cream, if you want the pie, go and have it. But make sure you don't maybe overeat on it to a point where then you feel sick after, because then that's not fun either. And I've been there too. And so if you want to eat the dessert, eat the dessert. And because like I said, it will take all the stress off of you. And I don't know where you're at in your journey with the Lord. I don't know where you're at with your health journey. But I will say from my own experience, restricting yourself, saying some foods are off limits, is only going to harm yourself in the process, because then you are just completely taking out the fun of being able to eat a food, because God created all food for us. And like I said before, yes, some foods aren't good, aren't healthy, or aren't as nutritious as other foods, but it is still okay to eat it. It is still okay to have it, especially on one day or 2 days, especially on Christmas Eve and Christmas, where there are a lot more treats around. That is okay. But like I said before, if you don't want it, you don't have to force yourself to have it. And I will say, like, there are healthier alternatives to make. Like, if you go to a party this year and you want to, and you're in charge of bringing a dessert, you can make a healthier version of a dessert. Or you can go out and buy a healthier version of cookies or a healthier version of cake. Because there are definitely those options out in the stores, and you can also make the option if you like cooking or baking. And then you know what you're putting into the food, and you know, okay, this is a little bit more nutritious, then you're okay to have it, and that won't necessarily harm your goals or ruin your goals either if you do have health goals that you're following. And so I would say that with food, and I do truly hope that makes sense. And just please, 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 please don't restrict yourself, because I don't want you to be so focused on a food that you can't eat because you're telling yourself you can't, but you really want it. And I don't want you to be so focused on that you miss out on all the fun other things about Christmas, because I used to be the way. I used to be so focused on the food that I really wasn't engaged in conversations with family and friends. And I was so hyperfixated on how I looked that I wanted to just stick with my goals so much that way I wouldn't gain weight, or that way I wouldn't, that way I could just stick with my goals. But again, all of that just led me down a road led me down an unhappy road, to where I wasn't wasn't enjoying food anymore, because I was so restricting myself so much. And so I don't want you guys to do that this year, or if you have done that in the past and you're still doing that, I don't want you to keep doing that, regardless of if it's around the holidays or not, because it's just, food is fuel, and God created food for us all to eat, and so it should be viewed as something good because God created it, and that it's okay for us to eat. And, I'm sure Jesus probably would have had ice cream and would have had cake, because I don't think ice cream was around. Ice cream was definitely not around in Jesus' time, but I'm sure if it was, I'm sure he would have ice cream, maybe. I don't know, but regardless, it is still okay to eat that. And also, go to God in prayer. If you're struggling right now with nutrition, if you're struggling right now with how to navigate this, how to stay healthy during the holidays, go to God in prayer and ask him to show you how you can create a healthier routine this holiday season. And just go to God in prayer and ask him to show you how to do that in a way that's going to honor and glorify him. And so that's what I would say with food. Again, I hope and pray that made sense. And then I would say another great way to stay healthy this holiday season is to get good rest. We all know that the holiday season is stressful. There's a lot of things to do. If you're cooking for a family and you have all your family coming in town to your house, so you have to cook all this stuff, that takes a lot of preparation. Or if you have to wrap all the gifts for your family, that also takes a long time. Or if you just have a lot of holiday festivities to go to, that takes a lot of energy. And so I would say to make sure you're sleeping. And it's okay if you don't get everything done the day that you wanted it to get done, because it will at some point, it's going to get done. Whether it is on Christmas Eve that you're finishing up presents, it's going to get done. And, but don't put so much pressure on yourself to get everything done in this one day because you set a specific timeline on yourself, because, guys, plans change. Things happen outside of our control. And we have to learn to adapt to that. And let me tell you, I am still learning that to this day on how to adapt to when my plans change, and knowing that it's okay if I don't get everything done. Thankfully, this year, I don't think there's a lot of stuff that I have to do this year for Christmas other than just get presents. But if you do have a lot to do, I would say to just plan it out and space it out on like finding a day where you're like, okay, I don't have a lot to do this day, so let me try and do like 3 of the things I have to get done for this before Christmas, and then just space it out. And then you could do the next day, you could do 1 thing that you have to get done, and then the next day you could get 2 things you have to get done, depending on your schedule. But don't try and pile it up all in one day, because then you're going to get yourself more stressed, and you're going to probably end up staying up really late, and that's just not fun. So make sure you get good sleep and don't pile up everything all in one day. Make sure you space out what you have to do, so that way you are able to still be able to breathe, and that way you don't feel so stressed out because you put everything on one day. But you'll be able to actually breathe and be able to focus more on what you're doing because you spaced it all out. And so hopefully that made sense. And burnout definitely happens over the holidays. But again, like, one way to avoid burnout is not pile everything up in one day, and just spacing it all out as well. And so hopefully that helps you guys with that. And also, if you do have a lot to do, go to bed early the day before and wake up earlier, so that way you can just get a head start on the day with that. But make sure you read your Bible first. I will say that. But just wake up earlier, so that way you can get all 30 minutes or an hour earlier, so that way you can get a head start on the day and be able to get what you need to get done that day a lot earlier. So in that way, the rest of the day, you can rest. And so hopefully that made sense too. And then I would say working out. I don't know if you guys were like me, but I used to, as I was older, of course, and got more into working out, I would, like I said before, I worked out during the holidays so that way I could eat the dessert and not feel bad. But especially since being saved and as I got older in college, I think last year, I don't think I worked out on the holidays, on like Christmas. I definitely did not work out on Christmas Day. Instead, I just had a slower morning, and that was really great. And it was honestly a relief knowing that I didn't have to put so much pressure on myself to be like, no, I have to stick with my workout routine. I have to do it on this day because otherwise I'm not going to get to my goals, and otherwise I'm not going to be able to have any dessert because I didn't work out or move my body. But it's okay if I don't work out every single day. Actually, rest is really good. And another way to rest is to allow your body to rest. So making sure there's maybe 1 or 2 days out of the week, or 2 to 3 rest days where you're not really lifting weights or moving your body. You can go on a walk on a rest day, but making sure you're just letting your body rest is actually a good thing. And what's nice about holidays is that it forces us to rest, actually, because not a lot of people work on holidays, especially on Christmas, maybe Christmas Eve, but on Christmas Day, not a lot of people are working, and everyone's at home with family, opening presents, opening gifts, and you're resting, you're in the present. And so holidays force us to rest. And so with that, and a lot of times families start really early in the morning too with Christmas. And so with all of that, and what I'm saying with all of that is that it's okay to take a day off of working out. It's not going to ruin your goals. It's not going to ruin your workout routine. It's not going to ruin anything. If anything, it's going to give your body the rest, especially if you're super rigid on working out, which isn't good either. But it definitely won't ruin your goals at all. That's what I used to believe. And now I'm realizing more now that I'm like, I don't have to actually work out on this day when I said I'm going to work out, because things happen again. Like, there's some days where I don't feel well, and then I'm like, shoot, I was going to work out, but I don't feel well, and it's probably not the best option to work out, and so I'm not going to. Instead, I'm going to let my body rest and just let it rest for today. And honestly, I will say, when those things happen, when the unplanned rest days happen, it's honestly the best thing ever, because it forces me to rest, and then it helps me realize, wow, okay, when my body didn't change, my goals didn't change, I ate the same, and nothing happened, nothing changed, but I was just able to give my body more rest. And so with that, you don't have to work out this year on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day during the holidays. If you don't want to work out, you don't have to. You don't have to work out. But if you truly want to work out because you enjoy it and you're like, I do have some extra time in the morning on Christmas Day, and you end up having some extra time to do that, go ahead and work out. Like, I'm not going to stop you from saying, no, you can't work out at all. No, you can work out. But if you are like, I kind of don't want to work out, but I know I should because of my goals, like, do what's going to be best for your body. Pray about it. And again, don't force yourself to work out if you don't want to, or if you shouldn't, or if you are feeling like the Lord's telling you to not work out. Definitely listen to the Lord. But like, there's no right or wrong with this. And if you want to work out, great. If you don't try and force yourself, because then that's just not gonna go well either. And so I would say that with that, I don't know what I'm gonna do this Christmas. Obviously, I'm definitely not gonna work out this Christmas morning. And yes, Christmas is still a few weeks away, which is crazy that Christmas is only a few weeks away. But yes, it's a few weeks away. I don't know what Christmas is gonna look like for you, Christmas morning, but just feel it out. If you want to work out, that is great. Go work out. I'm not going to stop you from working out. But also realize rest is important. Rest is good. God calls us to rest for a reason. And knowing that you don't have to work out every single day, because then that's going to lead to burnout. And if you want to just have a restful holiday morning, great. Restful Christmas morning, great. Go and do that, because that's a good thing. So again, I hope that made sense. Don't know if any of this is making sense. I feel like I'm just rambling right now, but I do hope this made sense with all of that. And then I guess just like the last thing I would say is to just have fun this holiday season. Enjoy the food that either you're making or your family's making. Enjoy the food and enjoy the enjoy being in the present moment with family and friends, and just have fun. Because let's not try and be so focused on how we look or how we should eat that we miss out on the most important thing about Christmas is Jesus and spending time with family and friends, especially family that you probably don't see that often either. And so yeah, but I hope that all made sense, and I hope you guys are able to take away something from this. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram. Feel free to comment down below a question or any comments that you have. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also leave a review too on the podcast, because that definitely helps with growing it. And I hope you all truly do have a great rest of your week, a great Christmas, and I will definitely have this Christmas tree decorated very soon, and you guys will see it hopefully on the next podcast episode, but I can't make any promises because I'm still waiting on a few decorations for the tree, so hopefully those will come soon. And I do, again, hope you guys are able to take away something from this. And I hope it all made sense, because I really, truly feel like I was just rambling today. But I also don't feel well, so that's probably why. And again, this episode was definitely a lot shorter. Sorry about that. But I just hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And remember that God can turn your brokenness into something beautiful for His glory and your good. And let's, this Christmas season, fix our eyes on Jesus, to grow closer to Him, to grow more in His image, and to know that the true meaning of Christmas is not about what we get. It's not about the how well our house is decorated, or the food, or the working out, or anything like that, or the planning. It is truly about Jesus and His birth, and that leads all the way up to His death on the cross and His resurrection. And so I love you all, and I will see you all next week for another wonderful episode. Bye.